Well, shit. It's happening again. Another AR platform is joining the dodos in the sky, the only place that they can fly. And this time it is Eighth Wall, which is an OG player in this space. So frankly, I'm a little bit surprised. They've been one of the mainstays and one of the best AR platforms available for a long time, especially for web AR. It brings up a lot of questions because, as you know, they're not the first. This is in conjunction with the larger context of lots of studios closing, many jobs being lost. In fact, just last Friday, Meta laid off like 10 to 15% of Reality Labs, which is a whole lot of people. And I know that that's left a lot of folks in the community feeling really disillusioned and disoriented. And I just want to say you're totally not alone. I have been in this space for 6 or 7 years myself, and I'm right there with you. I've been noticing all of the signs, obviously, and I have some thoughts on it, where we are, where we might be headed. I just wanted to sort of talk about it and give you my perspective on it. Large caveat, all of this is my perspective, obviously. If you have any thoughts of your own or things that you want to share with the community, because I'm sure lots of you have insights that I don't, please share them down below because I think it would be helpful for us to talk about this stuff as it's happening. Okay, with that, let's dig in. So first, I just want to say that I am not making this video to scare you or to sell you on the latest shiny AR platform. I'm essentially making this because I believe in community and I believe that creators deserve honesty. They deserve real options and a vision of reality beyond the hype cycle. Today I'll be covering Eighth Wall's sunset schedule, so important dates and also how you can back up your project. Number 2, we're going to talk about what AR platforms still exist. There are still excellent AR software apps out there, and I'll give you some of my favorites. After that, we're going to talk about just sort of my impression of where XR is today and where it might be headed tomorrow. And then afterward, we're going to talk about, I don't know, just sort of a larger, mindset to apply to this current landscape. So is it time to pivot, panic, or apply more patience? And I'll give you my personal take on that. First off, just RIP, Eighth Wall. We appreciate you. You're an excellent platform. Important dates to keep in mind. February 28th of this year, 2026, Eighth Wall will officially be closing, so no more new things will be made, okay? And I think it's important for you to export your projects before then. Keep in mind also that all content will be hosted for an additional year, so until February 28th, 2027. What's cool is that Eighth Wall has actually created a buildable code export, so you're actually going to be able to run your projects as a standalone thing, which is really awesome. It's one of the first times that I've seen a company do this, and I just want to say thank you, Eighth Wall. We see you and appreciate the work that you're putting into this. There are some caveats to it. There are specific external dependencies that might not be exported, so specifically spatial BPS, hand tracking, and light ship maps will not be exported. So if your project includes those things, sorry. Okay, so where to now, right? Well, the good news is that really good AR software still exists, and I use it all the time. I made this handy dandy little list for you, and it's actually available in the description below as a downloadable free PDF if you would like it. I don't have extensive experience with all of these. I can't speak to each one individually in depth, but I can say that they're all quality. My favorite is probably Lens Studio. I've been using it the longest. It's been consistently one of the most innovative products in this space. There's also excellent documentation and a great community behind it, and specifically, Snap has done a great job of supporting their developer community. But of course, there's a ton of other options depending on what you might need. So go ahead and download this. I hope that you find the AR platform of your dreams. Let's go ahead and talk about where we are. Things have really shifted in the last couple of years. You may have noticed a lot of stuff has been closing, right? I mean, whoa. I mean, you've already seen, I did a video a few months ago for Adobe Aero announcing that it was closing. That came on the heels of Spark AR, announcing that it was closing. A series of headsets have obviously joined the dodos in the sky. And on top of that, a series of studios have closed recently, and lots of jobs have left the space. So I personally have actually never known this many people that are out of work. So take that for what you will, but yeah, it's definitely been a shift. So let's talk about like why, right? Well, first off, XR has been struggling, okay? There've been multiple instances where people are like, VR is dead, and personally, I don't think that VR is dead, but let's talk about why it has been struggling. Number one, hardware is hard, right? It's in the name. The form factor is challenging. These big clunky headsets, and I'm in the space, right? Like I use these things as a tool, as a creative tool, and I love it for those reasons and, for magical experiences, but I can't really wear it for that long because it's uncomfortable. It's kind of awkward. The UX hasn't really been figured out yet, like not really dialed in. And your average person just like, I don't know, those are some really big frictiony hurdles to get over. I mean, look at this lady, like she looks awkward and uncomfortable. She doesn't even really know how to use the this has to be said. Some major players in the space have had some major missteps. I mean, does this look like a space that you really want to inhabit? I feel like there was a lot of force feeding involved. These large companies were essentially trying to convince us that this was something that we wanted, and then the art direction and creative and use cases and ecosystems and everything that was needed to kind of like build that up and make it an actual desirable space for people just really wasn't there. So people didn't come. On top of that, there was kind of this like misunderstanding of what was possible, or perhaps it was that people didn't really know what to do with it. Even, exceptional players were doing kind of boring things with it, flat stuff in a spatial environment. Like when the AVP was released, I mean, it's a beautiful headset, obviously, like it looks gorgeous. It does all sorts of crazy things. I mean, it's nice to have these lovely shadows and everything, but like, who cares if like the content isn't actually very interesting and doesn't actually take advantage of spatial experiences? Like, this fell really flat to me, not to be punny, but to be punny. Also, I think that tech distrust is at an all-time high. There have been multiple instances of these larger companies mishandling data and also, creating experiences and devices that funnel our attention in really unhealthy ways. And it's created unhealthy outcomes in society, and everybody knows it. Everybody is feeling it. And on top of the fact that the socioeconomic divide has just become so gargantuan, there's just mega distrust between big tech and the rest of the world. And so when big tech comes around and says, hey, we have this brand new device that's pretty expensive, doesn't really have an ecosystem, that's like has a ton of great content on it for you, and it can monitor all sorts of data about you, and we haven't really handled your privacy very well in the past, but we definitely will in the future, we promise. Like, why would people go for that? The only way that the common person is going to feel excited about these new mediums and the hardware associated, etc., is if they have experiences that are deeply meaningful and really, really high quality. The ecosystems that exist for content discovery really aren't great. On top of that, many of the ecosystems that have existed, many of the platforms that have existed are now gone, as you well know. So all of the work that has been associated with it is also gone. So there's the creative legacy of these mediums is disappearing. It's simply not there for people to discover. So people won't find the little gems, the nuggets of excellent experiences that's going to pull them into these mediums. By my estimation, these larger companies haven't really considered the importance of the creators and the communities, really. Many of them, not all, have behaved as though their creator communities are pretty expendable. They can kind of treat them poorly and people will keep coming back because they're so big. That's a terrible model to grow from. It's going to breed resentment, no loyalty, and again, creative erasure, and it just sucks. People aren't going to want to join. I see this happening right now. Lots of people just opting out because they're just like, fuck it. The biggest person in the room. Money, 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 money. Yes, cash is queen. It is true. And it is true in this scenario as well. So all of the money has been sucked up the AI straw. I think many of you know this. Most of the funds that were sort of in the XR pile during the XR hype cycle that happened predominantly during the pandemic have now been sucked up into the AI pool. I believe that we're kind of in the midst of this like spatial evolution. XR kind of needs a new type of interface. Buttons, etc., like are really, really challenging in a spatial environment. And so we really need something much more natural, frictionless in spatial environments, and AI can really, really offer that. Also, it allows interfaces to be adaptable to people's environments. So it can track surfaces, lighting, objects, people, language, all of that sort of stuff. On the other hand, AI really needs XR to get out of the box. AI obviously is really powerful in a bunch of different ways, but in order to really, really be powerful, it needs to be like spatially oriented, and XR can do that. It can create that sort of spatial context, the kind of embodiment where the intelligence exists in space, not just chat windows. And so it's a much more natural way of interfacing with AI as like an ongoing presence versus like, a little chat bubble. So really what's happening is XR is getting absorbed into the AI umbrella. Meanwhile, really exciting things are happening in XR, truly. So let's talk about some of those as well. First off, I really believe that the medium is maturing. I have noticed a lot of different art pieces and advertising pieces and, various other works that are really showing a maturity that didn't exist a few years ago. Not only from an artistic level, like people are finally grasping how to really use these tools in like a meaningful, experiential kind of way, but also this like very elevated way of combining these technologies to create effective experiences. For example, this one, The Clouds Are 2,000 Meters Up, just won the Venice Immersive 2025. It looks amazing, and they combined a really incredible tech stack to accomplish this, including video Gaussian splats, which is a very cutting edge technology, and they blended this like kind of hyper realism with these more abstracted, stylized, poetic elements, and I think that it's exceptionally effective. I think this is going to create like really, really beautiful work in the future. So yeah, we're seeing the medium mature. Also, hardware is finally going to be reaching consumers. Snap is going to be releasing their Snap specs to consumers this year. These are actual AR glasses, so they have a visual overlay. I've actually been developing for Snap spectacles for years now. And I think that once people actually get to experience AR hands-free, it really will make a big difference as far as like immersion and understanding like why these experiences are magical and meaningful. Here is a snapshot of some of the stuff that I've worked on over the years. The Door, which is an interactive AR song, was sort of the first piece that I made for Snap Spectacles. I used hand gestures to interact with the song and change the tracks, etc. I also did Biophonic, which was basically an exploration of being able to communicate with plants, again through hand gestures, but also using machine learning and language so that you could actually talk to the plant and the plant could talk to you, and you end up resembling one another at the end of the experience. And I did just finish the Dublin Winter Lights Festival piece called The Light That We Bring, where it's basically a mini game where people are able to collect these star fragments, unite them, and then they get to, bring forward this winter wonderland. So, okay, let's talk about what we should do, or what I'm gonna do at the very least. I think each one of us needs to address this personally, obviously. I'll give you my take. So, is it time to pivot, panic, or just have more patience? Let's have a little bit of Heather real talk time. First off, I just want to acknowledge that if you have been impacted by the layoffs or studio closures or your work disappearing or whatever, that is really hard. Honor your feelings about that. It is not your fault. It is not some sort of failure, of your abilities or your work or anything like that. So I hope that you can understand that it's not personal. Number two, I think that pivoting is just part of it. Like, we don't live in a world that our parents did. You can't stay in one industry and one role for your entire career. Like, I've been in tech for a really long time, like since I was 18, and I have pivoted the whole time, really the whole time. And frankly, I'm tired. I am tired. At the same time, I don't think that standing still is an option. I just don't think it is. So learning to pivot with panache is, like, I think the way to go. I also want to encourage you to remember that, even if you aren't doing as much XR, or you're not going to pursue XR anymore, depending on what you choose, your skill sets can definitely work in other industries should you choose to pursue them. Which leads me to the last point, which is that the job market is really cuckoo right now. I can't get around that. I've actually never known this many people that are out of work simultaneously, and there's fewer jobs in XR than there were in the last couple of years, and there's more super talented people with that skill set looking for those jobs, so the competition is really, really high. I get people all the time asking me, people entering the space, asking what they should study, or, if they should pursue XR as like an undergrad or whatever. And I would say you absolutely can. I don't think that XR is actually going away. I think XR is totally inevitable, although it's taking longer than people imagined. That said, I don't think that doing explicitly XR or only XR is going to be an easy thing to achieve necessarily, especially while making money. I would just say that go into it with your eyes wide open. Be honest about the landscape. I like tools. I like tools of all kinds. I love analog tools and I love digital tools. And XR will absolutely remain in my tool set. It's just too cool to abandon. And I'm still making a lot of XR work, both in freelance and personally. So yeah, XR is still going to be part of my little tool set basket, but my basket's getting bigger. For sure. And has been for the last few years. I've been following my interests and actually focusing more on physical immersive experiences and experiential design and public art in particular. In many of the cases, I've been able to integrate XR, so it's a combination of a physical experience with, an AR overlay or something like that. But not all the time. I've also just been doing, physical immersive environments, which has been allowing me to reconnect with my love of the analog arts and building things. I've been taking woodworking and returning to painting and making more music and spending less time on a computer. I spent a lot of time on my computer during the pandemic, as I'm sure many of you all did as well. And I've been spending less recently, which I think is good balance. Lastly, I just wanted to say that there's a lot of advice in the world that you need to be a niche of a niche of a niche in order to be competitive, sell your skills in the modern world. And I actually think that is completely wrong. First off, I'm a multi-passionate person. I'm an interdisciplinary artist. I always have been. And to put myself in a single box and not allow myself to do anything else would be really destructive and also not the best way to use me. Number two, I also think that when you overlap various skill sets, there are truths and opportunities that are revealed at the overlap of those perspectives that more siloed individuals would miss. So there's actually great value to multi-passionate people. And number three, I would also say that my entire career actually has been born out of the fact that I am interdisciplinary. I have been capable of making these experiences because I have followed my curiosity and I have allowed myself to expand my skill set in multiple directions. And I actually think that that is the way that the world is moving going forward. Even just design jobs, period, these days are actually a combination of designers who also have product thinking, strategic thinking, and the ability to code, whether it's via Cursor or, Lovable or some other sort of AI that empowers them to, create with code. I don't think that siloing yourself is actually very smart. So anyway, interdisciplinary is awesome. With that, I will wrap this up. I hope that you have found some of this interesting, potentially insightful, thoughtful, maybe spurred some questions in you. And as always, happy making.